Hey, what's up guys? Best in West here, and today I'm going to be showing you the rest of my Sinister Cup Tournament. But before I do that, I'd like to give a huge shout out to my patrons. We have Shagnus, Zilla, and Blue Crab Cards. Huge shout out to you guys. Thank you for supporting me, keeping me making these videos, putting out this content. Really keeps me motivated. And if any of you out there would like to support me in these videos, please make sure you check out my Patreon. It's down low in the description section. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so I'm here with Zilla. You have probably seen him in a few videos now. He's always in my videos. He's just like stalking me or something. But anyways, we got matched up in the third round. You're 2-0.
2-0.
Did you win all 6 of your?
No, 5-1.
Okay, 5-1 as well. So we're both evenly matched right now, and we're gonna see who comes out on top here.
Let's do it.
You gotta take notes now. Take notes. Take notes.
Taking notes.
So you're gonna give me this one, right?
Nope.
Come on, I've never beaten you in tournament. But new season. New season.
New season, hopefully same results.
No, hopefully different results. That was just some friendly banter with Zay. I've never beaten him in tournament play, so going up against him this early in the tournament's kind of nerve-wracking. He's one of the best battlers in the East Bay in my opinion, so definitely keep an eye out for him. And yeah, so let's take a look at his team and let me kind of analyze what and why I chose what I chose. So the team you see here is what I end up using. It's Slowbro, Haunter, Alolan Marowak. So I've realized that a lot of Medicham has been starting to come up in tournament play in these Sinister Cups. So Slowbro kind of walls Medicham because it will resist every move that Medicham has. Don't get me wrong, Dynamic Punch will still hurt, Psychic will still hurt, but it can resist all that and still deal neutral damage back to it. So with that being said, I decided to go Slowbro, Haunter, and Alolan Marowak. And you'll see how I do. Right, jumping straight into the battle. I lead off with Slowbro, he leads off with Alolan Marowak. This is technically a bad matchup for me, but I am dealing super effective damage with this water gun. And so as you can see, he gets to the yellow before he even throws a charge move. And at this point, Shadow Ball, I block it. And I'm just going to try and feint him down at this point. He gets another charge move off. I don't think he's going to get to another Shadow Ball at this point, so I let this go. Bone Club. I have full energy going into the next Pokemon. I don't know what it is, but more than likely I'm going to be throwing a Psychic out at it. If it's a tank, then I'll run Water Pulse. But I think he's going to shield this knowing that I do have Water Pulse. So I throw the Psychic out, try to get that debuff. And I do get the debuff, so this is great. I'm going to get this Water Pulse off. I stored up so much energy from farming that Alolan Marowak. He decides to double shield. This is perfect. I have one shield left. I have shield advantage, I have Pokemon advantage, and he's going to burn all this energy on my Slowbro. Now, I have Alolan Marowak, which can beat Steelix in even shields, but I have a shield advantage as well and the health advantage. So this is just a great situation for me. If he Earthquakes me, it is going to knock me out, but I don't think he will. So he gets the crunch off and he's going to go switch into Medicham. And this is still a great matchup for me. Get the Shadow Ball off and this will nearly one-shot this Medicham. And I farm it down for energy. I have this Bone Club and this will do it. GG. I didn't even have to use my Haunter. GG.
Very.
Alright, so new season, new results. New season, new results. That's the
mantra.
That's the mantra right there. So I was able to take first battle, but there's still 2 more battles to go, so anything can happen.
Dang, I made a right choice.
Okay, so going into this next battle, I have a feeling that he's going to try to counter that lineup that I just ran, which was all weak against Ghost, right? It was 1 Psychic and 2 Ghosts. So my thought is he's either going to lead off with Drifblim or he's going to lead off with Haunter. But there's also a chance that he leads off with Steelix again. so I wanted to make sure that I at least had a positive or neutral matchup against most of his team. So if that's the case, I lead off with Poliwrath, and that's going to have a okay matchup against Haunter, a neutral matchup against his Poliwrath, a good matchup against Drifblim, a good matchup against Steelix, and a good or relatively good matchup against Alolan Marowak. Relatively neutral because those bubbles powered up will deal a decent amount of damage to that Alolan Marowak. So I also bring in my Haunter and Bastiodon just to get that coverage. So pretty much I need to make sure that Haunter falls on Medicham and Bastiodon can fall on almost any of the other Pokemon. Yeah, see how I do. Getting into the second battle against Zay, I lead off with Poliwrath, he leads off with Haunter. This is an okay matchup for Poliwrath. I'm going to go straight for that Ice Punch. If he doesn't shield this, he will get down to very little health. If he does shield it, good, I burn the shield. He does decide to let that go. He gets a charge move off, and I am going to shield this because I know he can't get a Shadow Punch and a Shadow Ball. So shielded, knocks out his Haunter. At this point, I'm just going to try to do as much damage as I can to this Medicham because I don't want to give up that switch advantage. I earned that from winning the lead, get this power-up punch off, and now I'm trying to get to this Ice Punch. He does get a charge move off. It is a power-up punch. Doesn't knock me out. I'm trying to get this Ice Punch, but no, I don't get to it, unfortunately. I do bring in Haunter, and this is a great matchup for me. I am chunking away at that Medicham with those Shadow Claws. Gets a charge move off, don't think it's a Psychic, so Power Up Punch, not very effective damage. He ends up switching to Alolan Marowak. I switch right away to my Bastiodon, which technically could just smack down this Alolan Marowak all the way down. And I am not going to shield anything because I don't want that Medicham coming back in and farming on my Bastiodon. So he gets a second Bone Club off. I do go ahead and throw this Stone Edge, but my Bastiodon is low enough health where I don't think his Medicham can come in and farm too much energy. He goes ahead and gets a charge move off right here, Bone Club, and knocks out my Bastiodon. I bring in Haunter back, get one Shadow Claw, knock him out. I go ahead and throw the Shadow Punch, but Zay already knows it's over. GG.
Oh, new season,
third match. Need the redemption.
new season, new outcomes. New season, new outcomes.
I just hit rematch.
I need to get you in the frame. Don't hide. Don't hide.
Covering my shame of losing to you. Alright.
That was pretty ballsy bringing Bastiodon because it gets walls. It gets walls, especially you have two fighters and a Steelix.
I thought you were going to shield, and if you shielded, I would have won that.
I think you could have.
If you shielded, I would have won.
You would have probably fainted down my Bastiodon and then farmed up some, and then possibly have gotten a shield.
Well, what I was trying to do was do enough Bone Clubs where I could get back to the timer and switch into Cham. And if I did that, I definitely would have won. If you shielded too, I would have won, which I was banking on, and then you didn't do it.
It's because I had a Haunter in the back.
True.
With like more than half health.
True.
So.
Okay, so going into this last battle, I mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of the third battle. If I 2-0 someone, I am just become completely disinvested in the third battle. But anyways, the team that you see here is not the team I run with. The team I run with is going to be Slowbro, Haunter, and Alolan Marowak. And so the strategy still stays the same, that if I have a negative matchup, I switch into Haunter, get some energy advantage, and then deal damage to whatever comes in next. But as you will see in the next battle, I do not get the lead matchup, I don't get the Pokemon that I was expecting, and it just all goes to hell after that. But you'll see what I mean. Okay, getting into this last battle against Zay, I lead off with Slowbro, he leads off with Haunter. This is a terrible matchup, but I can't switch into my own Haunter because it will faint, it'll have some energy advantage, and I can't switch into my Alolan Marowak because Haunter will just tear through a Alolan Marowak. So I just stay in. I didn't know what to do. Switch in my Haunter, and he's going to get a charge move off right here with barely any HP left. I go ahead and shield this, otherwise I'll be down 2 Pokemon. And I feint down his Haunter, but look at how much damage his Haunter did to me. So much damage. He's going to bring in his next Pokemon, Poliwrath. I get a Shadow Punch off. He got 2 bubbles in, I think. He's going to block this Shadow Punch. And I'm trying to get to second Shadow Punch, but not quite enough. He feints me down before then. Send out Alolan Marowak. This is not the best of matchups. Even shields in the 1 shield scenario. He's going to Power Up Punch and just bubble me down pretty much. I don't really have much of a chance. He's going to get another Power Up Punch up right here. And just building up those bubbles. I'm going to go for the home run hit with this Shadow Ball. And he decides to block it. That pretty much secured his victory. He's going to get another charge move off. Don't know if it's Power Up Punch or Ice Punch, or it's another Power Up Punch. He's just going straight for building up those bubbles, and GG.
That's mine, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, because you knocked out my
Slowbro.
And this was correct. I don't know your second move.
Good.
Alright, so that was the third round. It was my first time being Zay in tournament, it was about time. I feel like I can hold my own against you, so at least I was able to take 1 round off of you, so GG's.
GG, good luck with the rest of the tournament.
Yep, likewise. Alright, so I'm here with Young One, 510, matched up in the 4th round. Are you 3-0?
I am 1-2.
1-2. Oh, interesting. Because I'm 3-0, and so we got matched up. So that's kind of interesting. But how you enjoying your first tournament so far?
That's awesome. It's really good.
It's so awesome to see new faces around because that means like people are getting into it. And
for sure.
As long as you're enjoying it, that's all that really matters.
They've been really close matches, so.
Oh yeah, that's awesome then.
All right.
So going into round 4, I matched up against Young One 510, and it's kind of interesting how that happened because I'm 3-0 and he's 1-2. Usually you get matched up against people the same record as you. But anyways, shout out to you, Young One, for coming out to the tournament. He's a new trainer that got involved in Pokemon Go PvP not too long ago. And yeah, it's just a good first step to show up to these tournaments and get your feet wet. So I'm really happy for him, and yeah, look forward to battling him more in the future. But let's get into the battle analysis. He's running a pretty interesting team, a team that I haven't run too many sims against. So we have Primeape, Jinx, a Dusknoir, Drifblim, Alolan Sandslash, and a Claydol. His most meta Pokemon are probably Drifblim, Claydol, and Primeape. Alolan Sandslash and Jinx are both weak to fire, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Alolan Marowak. A lot of his team is going to be weak against Slowbro, such as Claydol, Primeape, and Jinx. Jinx is good. Doesn't really have any moves that will deal super effective damage or even neutral damage to Slowbro. I'm actually not quite sure, but I know Slowbro's a pretty safe option in this case other than against Dusknoir and Drifblim. And I lead off with Poliwrath because it has a pretty good matchup against everything on his team. Claydol is going to be dealing super effective damage, but I am dealing super effective damage back. So lead off with Poliwrath, bring in Slowbro and Alolan Marowak in the back. Let's see how I do. Getting right into the battle, I lead off with Poliwrath. He leads off with a shiny Primeape. So that shiny flex is going to deal more damage. And he decides to switch, which was kind of surprising. I'm going to go ahead and get this Ice Punch off on this Dusknoir. He decides not to shield it. He's going to get Ominous Wind off right here. And I'm not going to block either. I don't think it's going to deal a significant amount of damage. He does not get the boost, so luckily for me, he does not get that boost. Get another Ice Punch off. And he decides not to block that one either. So I get one more bubble off and he faints. So we still both have 2 shields. Brings out Claydol and I get this Ice Punch off. I think he's going to shield. Yep, he shields, and I go ahead and swap into my Slowbro because I knocked out one of his Ghost-type Pokemon already. and I know he has a Primeape in the back. So he goes ahead and gets that Earth Power off, and I'm dealing super effective damage with that Water Gun. He decides to switch into Primeape, and I'm going to go ahead and get this Psychic off. This Psychic is going to deal super effective damage if he does not block. He does block. He gets a charge move off right here, Night Slash, and I'm going to block that just because I know I can get to the second Psychic on this Poliwrath. This Psychic is going to knock out this Poliwrath if he does not shield it, and he does not shield it, and well, he had no more shields left anyways, and Slowbro should be able to knock out this Claydol.
Shiny Primeape.
I think I did a bad switch.
Shiny Primeape.
But good battle.
Going into the second battle against Young One, I didn't see anything that was of a big concern in terms of his team, so I decided to just go in with the same team of Poliwrath, Slowbro, and a Alolan Marowak. I think that has pretty good coverage in terms of his team, so let's see how we do. Going straight into the battle, I lead off with Poliwrath, he leads off with Jinx, so I know Jinx has a Psychic move, so it is running the Psychic move, and I'm going to go ahead and get this Power Up Punch off. It's going to deal neutral damage because that Ice type is weak to fighting, but that Psychic type is going to be resisting. I send in my Slowbro to take whatever charge move this is. It's a Side Shock, not very effective damage, does a decent amount of damage to it still. These Water Guns are going to be chunking down on this Jinx though. Jinx is pretty squishy. Was able to knock it out, have a charge move for the next Pokemon. It sends out Drifblim, is going to be dealing super effective damage to Slowbro. I am going to get this Psychic off though. Deals a significant chunk to that Drifblim. I get this second Psychic off because I farmed that Jinx so hard, so aggressively. Knock out that Drifblim. He has one shield left, I have two shields. He sends out a Alolan Sand Slash and knocks out my Slowbro. Running Powder Snow. So I get this Power Up Punch off, and this is going to be double super effective, but he decides to block that first one. Powder Snow not dealing very effective damage due to my water typing. He gets a charge move off right here. It's going to be Blizzard. He must have ran out of TMs. Not very effective damage, but just the sheer amount of damage Blizzard does knocked out my Poliwrath. I send out Alolan Marowak, and it's going to deal super effective damage. He gets that Bulldoze off, but GG.
So, second battle, I was able to pull it off. His team is really interesting. I like it though. I like it. I like seeing, like, I don't know what to do. It's really fun.
So, for the third battle against Young One, my phone had some kind of problem, and I wasn't able to record the battle, but I still won. So I went 3-0 against Young One, and yeah. Not much to say. I ran the same team and won in a very similar fashion to the other two battles. But yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Alright, so I was able to take the third battle of the fourth round. So on to the last one. I'm undefeated going into the fifth round, so hopefully I can win this one. Yeah, I'm gonna hope I can take it. But GG's, man.
Yeah, good.
Glad that you came out.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep practicing.
Awesome. Yeah, it's my first tournament.
Yeah, no, dude, keep at it. If you want any tips, unfortunately I don't have any friend space left, but if you want any help creating your teams or anything, feel free to message me. I'd be more than happy. Alright, good luck.
Follow the channel.
Alright, so we're here in the last round. It's me against Tambio. We've fought each other several times before. He was the first person to beat me in Pokemon Go PvP from Boulder Cup. So maybe I can get some payback from here. But whoever wins this wins the championship belt from El Cerrito. So this right here is the championship belt. Whoever wins this round will win this and get their name permanently placed on the belt right here. Engraved with permanent marker. But we will see how it goes. So yeah, good luck, man.
All right, good luck, brother.
Alright, so let's get into the championship round of this tournament. And it's against a very, very skilled trainer in Tambio. He actually handed me my very first loss in the very first tournament. He was my only loss of that tournament, so it's kind of interesting to come full circle to be up against him in the final round of the first tournament in Season 2. It's kind of interesting because his battery was actually dying, and if he didn't get a charge, he was about to leave. So he almost didn't make it to this point, which is so hard for me to like wrap my head around. But anyways, let's get into his team. He is running an Alolan Marowak, a Poliwrath, Medicham, Drifblim, Claydol, and Probopass. Now, pretty much because he's running Claydol and Probopass, I am not able to run my Bastiodon. So my Steelix will have to carry the majority of the weight in terms of the tank. But my Slowbro is going to be able to do some work. He has an Alolan Marowak, a Claydol, a Probopass, and Medicham, and a Poliwrath. So Probopass is going to do a significant amount of damage to my Slowbro though, but Slowbro is going to be dealing super effective damage back. But something that I kind of learned from Young Boomy, actually, someone that I talked to about the philosophy or the mind games behind picking lineups. I looked at his team and what he would use against my team, and Probopass has a lot of positive matchups against my team, so I wanted to try to assume that Probopass would be led. So if that's so, I shouldn't lead off with Slowbro. So instead I led off with Poliwrath, because Poliwrath is able to get those power-up punches, double super effective, and also build up those bubbles to deal super effective damage and heavy damage to the rest of his team. And so I lead off with Poliwrath, bring in Slowbro because of the positive matchups across the board other than Drifblim, and I bring in Alolan Marowak just because Alolan Marowak's kind of like the Pokemon that he can bring in no matter what. Double super effective damage against Probopass, and Shadow Ball, neutral or super effective damage to the rest of his team. Let's see how I do. Alright, getting right into the battle, I lead off with Poliwrath. He leads off with Medicham. So this is not what I was expecting. I go ahead and switch straight into Slowbro. This is a positive matchup for me. He switches into Probopass. So this is not the best matchup for me, but I am able to deal super effective damage back to Probopass. Get this Water Pulse off, and it does a significant amount of damage. He is going to get a charge move off right here, and it is going to hurt me quite a lot, but pretty much the same amount of damage as I did with my Water Pulse. I'm going to be able to feint down his Probopass, so now I have switch advantage. So I'm in a pretty good position right here. He sends out Medicham, and he's going to get a power-up punch off on me, I believe. Yep, a power-up punch off on me. And now I bring in my Alolan Marowak, but in a two-shield situation, this is kind of a shield baity situation, and I'm also not running Hex, so it's kind of harder for me. If I was running Hex, it would be easier. He gets that Psychic off, and he switches into Claydol. I go ahead and switch into my Poliwrath. This isn't the greatest of matchups, but I am able to put shield pressure on him due to my Ice Punch. He does decide to block that Ice Punch, and he gets a charge move off on me. Now I have to think, do I want to block this or do I want to save it for my Alolan Marowak? I do decide to block it because I feel like I can get to the second Ice Punch, but I can't. Oh, so close. I go for this Bone Club, and I missed a couple, but he blocked it anyway, so that's good for me. I go for this Shadow Ball, and this is going to knock out his Claydol, but unfortunately he has a Medicham in the bag, and Medicham is going to be able to get to that Psychic before I am able to get to that Shadow Ball right there. One fast attack was all I needed. I'm not sure if Bone Club was going to be able to knock him out, but GG.
Bro, that was crazy.
Oh man, that was really good.
What kind of match was that?
That was crazy. Yeah.
That was unreal. I can't believe we led.
Alright, so at this point I'm a little tilted because I feel like I was at a significant advantage after I knocked out that Probopass with even shields, but yeah, it just got super intense. So I was watching the footage and I was just blocking everything and everyone out of my mind. So it wasn't, if Tambio, if you're watching this wasn't anything against you. I was just completely in the zone. There was a large crowd around us because we waited till everyone else finished their round for us before we started our round. So there was a good amount of pressure, and under competition I'm just like zoned in. I'm super focused, kind of to myself, trying to figure out what to do in this next battle, because I feel like I should have won that first battle, but then Tambio played that very, very well, and I have to make the adjustments. So in this next battle, I decide to stick with something that I felt comfortable with, and I kind of went away from. So I lead off with Slowbro. Good matchups across the board, other than maybe Drifblim. And also I bring in Steelix. Steelix is going to have positive matchups against Alolan Marowak, Drifblim, Claydol in even energy situations, and Probopass. It will lose hard against Medicham, and it will lose against Poliwrath, but those two can be taken by my Haunter, which I also bring in this battle. So I lead off with Slowbro, I bring in Steelix, and I bring in Haunter. Let's see how we do. Okay, jumping right into the battle, I lead off with Slowbro. He leads off with Probopass. So this is, like you just saw, like I will be able to get this Probopass down to very low health, but I do decide to switch into Steelix because Probopass does have a positive matchup against my Slowbro. He switches into Medicham, as he should, and power up punches. I decide not to shield that. I use Earthquake. Now this is kind of like my gamble, right? It's the nuke move, and he decides not to block that, so that's great. His Medicham is down to very low health. I am not going to block this power up punch, and let's see if I can get to, I do not get to the crunch, but I have Haunter, and Medicham is at low health, so I believe I'm going to bring out Haunter, get a couple Shadow Claws off, 2-3 Shadow Claws off, get a good amount of energy going into this Claydol. This Claydol is going to deal a ton of damage. Get this Shadow Punch off. He goes ahead and shields it. I switch into my Slowbro. Slowbro, he's going to go ahead and switch into his Probopass, and I decide to shield this charge move, Thunderbolt. So I get this Water Pulse off. I believe he's going to shield this. It wouldn't make sense if he doesn't. He does decide to shield that. And Slowbro is dealing super effective damage with that Water Gun. He's gonna get another charge move off. I decide to shield this one, another Thunderbolt. Chunking away with that Water Gun, I get to this Water Pulse, and it must have been so close. So close. And I'm able to knock out that Probopass. Sends out Claydol, and Water Guns are gonna chunk away at this Claydol because it is weak against water, and he has to use his energy to knock out my Slowbro. I'm gonna send out my Haunter, and yes.
So much drama, I can't take it.
That was really good, dude.
Alright guys. Alright, last match. Gonna have it.
Wow.
Way too nerve-wracking. I'm like nervous for you guys.
This is actually really intense. Yeah. These are great battles. It's coming down.
I mean, that belt is a pretty lucrative title, so.
Yeah, the belts were nice.
Good luck.
Good luck.
And yeah, going into this last battle, Tambio is definitely one of the best battlers that I have battled. You can't make a mistake against him. If you make a mistake, he will capitalize on it. So yeah, at this point I'm super nervous, very tense, getting ready to go into this last battle. But going into this last battle, I do decide that Alolan Marowak is not made for this battle. His team, like other than Medicham, Alolan Marowak doesn't really have any positive matchups. So I decided to just sit Alolan Marowak down on the bench, and I decided to run Slowbro, Steelix, and Haunter. Haunter will deal super effective damage against Claydol, Drifblim, Medicham, Alolan Marowak, and deal neutral damage against everything else, right? Steelix, super effective against Alolan Marowak, Drifblim, Claydol, and Probopass. And Slowbro, super effective against Alolan Marowak, Claydol, and Probopass. And we'll have a positive matchup against Poliwrath with shields down, right? But instead of leading with Slowbro, I decided to leave Slowbro in the back and lead off with Steelix. Steelix has more positive matchups against his team than Slowbro does, even though Slowbro has a lot of good positive matchups against his team. So lead off with Steelix, have Slowbro and Haunter in the back. Wish me luck. Let's see how I do. Okay, jumping straight into the battle, I lead off with Steelix. He leads off with Alolan Marowak. So I believe this is a pretty good matchup for me, and it is the Hex variant. So it's not going to be dealing much fast attack damage, and I am going to get to this crunch first. And I'm going to hit it, and he's going to get a charge move off right here. I do decide to block it, and luckily it is a Shadow Ball. So he goes ahead and swaps out into Poliwrath, and I'm going to swap into my Slowbro. So he does have the shield advantage, but I have a significant health advantage on my Steelix and Alolan Marowak matchup. So he gets a dynamic punch off, and I'm going to get this psychic off right here. If he doesn't block this, this is going to knock out his Poliwrath, and he decides not to block it. So he's going to elect to bring Alolan Marowak back out, and I'm able to water gun him down. I'm not sure if that's a mistake or what happened, but I'm going to go ahead and get this Psychic. I expect him to shield it. That's why I use Psychic instead of Water Pulse, and he does. And I was hoping for possibly a defense drop, but I'm able to deal significant damage to that Claydol because he fainted me down with Confusions. Now I know he has energy charged up. He goes ahead and uses a charge move right here. Earth Power. Whew, if it was Earthquake, I think I would have been screwed. I do get this crunch off and am able to deal super effective damage, but he is going to block that. So right here, I should have switched out sooner, but I didn't. He does get a charge move off right here though, and that's totally okay, because I have a shield left over because I didn't use it on my Steelix. I'm gonna get a couple of Shadow Claws.
So I was able to pull it off. Took it for Valor. Took it for easy. GG's, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
That was definitely like heart-wrenching, heart-pounding. I took it, guys. Yeah. It's been a long time since I won in El Cerrito. It feels so good.
Yes. Start the season out strong.
New season, new outcomes.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching my Sinister Cup Tournament video. It was my weighted tournament, and so it meant a lot to me. It was super awesome. Tambio, you are a star. You definitely should have won that tournament. I think I got some lucky baits maybe, and I made some very lucky guesses. It could have easily been yours, but luckily for me, I was able to win, and I brought home this belt. So this belt, I'm going to be able to decorate this this like plate, and it's going to be on this belt for the rest of the year, pretty much. So it's pretty cool. I really like how El Cerrito does something like this, rewards the champion of that specific tournament, and so yeah, I'm really happy to have this. I will go over my strategy in the near future, putting these videos together is something that I really enjoy doing, but it does take a ton of time, so sorry this is kind of late, but I still hope that you enjoyed watching it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Before I leave, I wanted to give a huge shout out for El Cerrito community for coming together and putting on this tournament. Obviously, it's my home tournament, so it means a lot to me. If you guys would like to support me even more, please make sure you check out my Patreon. Link in the description section down below. But that's pretty much it. Until next time, guys, this is Best and West. I'll catch you guys later.